My name is Brendan Buckley. The first gig I ever did with Shakira was a recording session that was in Miami, Florida. I knew people, and I used to work at a recording studio that was owned by Gloria Estefan, if you remember her. And I knew some of the recording engineers there and producers. So when she came to Miami to record one of her albums, this was back in 1998, they called me up to play some live drum tracks on that record. So I did 5 songs on that record of hers. And when that came out, she asked me if I'd do a couple of like the CD release party concerts. So I did a few of those. And then immediately they went to do one of those MTV Unplugged concerts in New York. So they asked me to be part of that band too. And then from that point on, I've been in her band ever since. This tour is called the El Dorado Tour. That's the Gold Tour. And it's like a lot of her tours, it's a combination of new songs and old songs. But I think this tour in particular, Shakira wants it to be a lot of fun, a lot of upbeat songs, a lot of dance, a lot of excitement. So they designed the set list around that. I still do a lot of acoustic drumming, electric drumming, and percussion. That's what I've always done in the band, is I combine those 3 elements. So that's still what I'm doing. A couple songs I play totally on the acoustic DW drums, and a couple of the songs I play only on Roland electronics with samples. Sometimes I play percussion, and sometimes I mix it all together. And I think this is only maybe the 5th show of the tour so far, and it's been going really well. She's doing great. She's really happy on stage, and the audience has been great, and we've had a lot of good feedback so far. If you take a look at it, it's hard to imagine with all that stuff there. It might look like a Neil Peart drum set or something, but really I think of it as a basic 4 or 5-piece drum set still. I play a bass drum with my right foot, a hi-hat with my left foot, a snare drum in between my knees, 1 or 2 rack toms, 1 or 2 floor toms. I always start with that, a ride cymbal, maybe 2 crashes, and then I start adding things depending on what I need to do, what the musical director asks me to do, what Shakira asks me to do, and it just grows and grows and grows. I always want to keep it small because if it's too hectic and chaotic, I think it disagrees with my Zen personality. But sure enough, I have to add, like some of the songs I have to play double pedal, so I add a double pedal. Some of the songs I have to play an electronic kick drum sound, so I add 1 electronic pedal. And then they say, oh, the verse is 1 sound, the chorus is another sound, so I add 2 electric pedals. You know, oh, and there's an explosion that happens here, so I add a 3rd electric pedal with my left foot, which is usually for those cannon sounds, like that. I'll hit that with my left foot. And the same thing with the snares. Sometimes I can combine an acoustic trigger on top of my snare drum, and I put it together. Sometimes they want only an electronic sound, so I have a mesh pad just for electronic snares. And then I have some little tom hits, tom pads, and I have an octapad for all the small little things that I can't cover with the other mesh pads. What else is there? And then there's a percussion setup for certain different songs. There's some Arabic percussion, some African percussion. I have some congas, bongos. There's even a mounted bass drum. It was backstage. You didn't get to see it, but I have to play like a gong bass drum for 1 song. And the electronics part is, because of the way I run things, I have 2 laptops. One is the backup for the other one. In case one of them breaks or freezes during the show, I can immediately, with 1 button, switch to the other computer. and I run a program called Native Instruments Battery 4. That is a software sampler, and I can just drag any drum sound I want into this screen and assign it to any pad I want in my setup. So if someone says, I want you to put this clap sound on the choruses of, beat 2 and 4 of the choruses of this song. So I drag it into the thing and I assign it to this pad and I change the level, and it can be complex if you want it to. You can layer things, you can affect things, put distortion, filters, all this stuff. But basically, the computers run all of my samples, and that's it. I have in-ear monitors, monitor wedges behind me to pump the sound a little louder. I don't like to only use in-ear monitors. I like a combination of in-ear monitors and monitor wedges, so it feels a little bigger. I've been using electronic drums since I started playing the drums. When I started taking drum lessons in high school, I was 15 years old, and I was studying with a drummer named Tommy Igo. And he, probably from my second drum lesson on, always had me practicing with a drum machine, not just a metronome, but he'd say, bring a drum machine, we'll program a little beat, and you can play along with it. And then he gave me my first lesson on a drum cat. I don't know if you remember what a drum cat is. He gave me my first lesson in MIDI sequencing. I can't remember the name of the program. I think it was Atari at the time, it was called, but before Logic or anything. So he showed me like acoustic drum triggering. This was still in high school. He was showing me how to do all this stuff. So by the time I got to college, I was already doing that on regular gigs. And my philosophy, like you were saying, even pub gigs, is I don't know many guitarists that only play an acoustic guitar. And I don't know many keyboard players that only play an acoustic piano. Guitarists play electric guitars too, with pedal boards with effects. And keyboardists play piano, but they also play organ and Wurlitzer and Rhodes and a Moog and a synthesizer and, all sorts of things. So I think it's not too different for a drum set player to also have a Roland SPDSX pad next to him and maybe a kick trigger or a snare trigger, just to add a few extra, more modern sounds to his setup. It doesn't have to be full-on electro or dance pop or anything, but it could just be a few sound effects to start off with. That drum set is a DW stainless steel drum set. It's all metal. Steven Vega from DW decided that he suggested that would be a good drum set for this tour. Because I said, you know what, we're going out on tour. Shakira likes drum sets that look kind of futuristic, which is why my last drum set was a clear acrylic, and the one before that was a sparkle. So I'm like, I need something that still, it doesn't look just like wood. Like, that's cool, but that's very traditional. She likes the stuff to look very futuristic. So he goes, we're making a stainless steel drum set now, and it sounds incredible. Perfect. So I brought out, we designed this kit, and it was all chrome. Everything was chrome. It looked beautiful. And we were about 2 weeks into the rehearsals, and then Shakira said, this is great. Could it be in gold? And I'm like, oh, wow, it's kind of late now. We're about to play. But so then but fortunately, my drum tech, Omar Sanchez, he contacted a company that would be able to cover it with this gold. I think it was an art department, but they used the kind of wrap that they put on race cars and things like that. So we took apart the entire drum set, everything, every screw off the drum shell, and we covered it with gold and put everything back on again. So that's why it looks gold now. Well, it's always hard because I juggle a lot of different projects at once, and my schedule is always very crazy. But right now, they say that Shakira's tour will go from now until November. So starting in November, I have some other work planned, hoping that it'll line up correctly. I play a lot with an artist named Daniel Powder. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm supposed to start a tour with him then. I also have an artist in China. He's actually from Taiwan. His name is Jeff Chang. I'm supposed to play some concerts for him too. Next year, 2019, I'm not quite sure yet, but we'll see. The future's bright. I feel very blessed to be playing some great drum companies, and they all, not only do they make good equipment, but they're all friends. I have their cell phone numbers and their email addresses, and I can call them anytime for any reason, which is, I feel very fortunate for that. But, I've been with DW since 2000. I've been with Sabian since, something like 1998 or something. Vic Firth, forever. Remo, forever. Roland. I've been a Roland electronic artist for a long time now. And some newer companies like Reflex drum pads. They're so fun to play. They're quiet. They don't bother other people, and they feel great. Lowboy bass drum beaters, the wooden ones. I've been using them for the last year or so. Drum dots. They make the little mute things. And what else? Canopus snare wires. See, I mean, I feel just lucky that I even know the people at these companies.